Hello, I'm Dr. Meredith Mahoney. I'm the Curator of Zoology at the Illinois State Museum, which means I am in charge of our collections of animal research specimens at the Research and Collection Center. I also worked a couple years as the temporary curator in the geology collections, so I worked also with our fossil and rock and mineral collections. Today I'm here to give you an introduction to our exhibit, Walk on the Wild Side, the story of Illinois cats. First, you may be asking yourself, why did the State Museum do an exhibit on cats? Well, several years ago, we did an exhibit on archaeological dogs from the Midwest, and this was a story we could tell here at the State Museum because we had a history of research on dogs, and so we could bring that with our objects and the research to the public. As we were brainstorming for new ideas for exhibits, and I suggested cats to our team, they were actually really excited about the idea. And so I started looking into the zoology and geology collections and found that we have a lot of material, and we could start to tell some really interesting stories and also highlight research that had been done by scientists at the State Museum. The other aspect of bringing this exhibit in here was that there was a cool find in the archaeological collections, and I'd wanted to exhibit it for several years, and so this was a great opportunity for me to do that. The main parts of the cats exhibit are extinct cats from the Midwest, the living wild cats of Illinois, the story of the domestic cat, and the connections between people and cats. We used objects and specimens from almost all of the different collections that we have at the State Museum. So this exhibit really highlights how we can pull objects from these different sections and tell really rich stories with them, and sort of showcases the breadth of the collections that we have here at the museum. Here on display, we have casts and fossils of extinct species from the Midwest, like the saber-toothed cat and the giant jaguar. We also have examples of Illinois native wildcats like mountain lions and bobcats. And then we also have examples of wildcats from around the world. These are all specimens that came out of our zoology collections. So here in this sort of in a single case, we have the whole range from these really big extinct species through modern wildcats and to all the way up to our domestic cat that visitors will be able to see when they come to the exhibit. So it's hard for me to pick a favorite object in the exhibit. I had a lot of fun going through zoology and geology collections, picking objects and doing the research to write the exhibit text. Plus, our anthropology curator contributed several objects that I had never seen before, so these are really cool things to see and include. However, one of my major goals when I started the exhibit was to include archaeological material that came from the Elizabeth Mound site in Pike County, Illinois. So the site is between 1600 and 2100 years old, and what was found at the site was a skeleton of a young bobcat, and it had been buried wearing a necklace with shell and bone beads on it. And we have a photo reconstruction here of what this animal may have looked like in life wearing this necklace. Scientists were able to tell that it was a young bobcat because we compared the archaeological material to skeletons that we have in the zoology collections at the Research and Collection Center. We had a specimen of a bobcat that had its teeth and its bones were at the same stage of growth as the archaeological skeleton of the bobcat. So we were able to determine that the animal is about 4 to 7 months old. And in the exhibit, we display these bones side by side so visitors can also see the similarities between the modern and the archaeology material. This is the only example of a wild cat buried in this manner, and it shows an important connection between a person in the past and this wild animal. This find had a lot of attention in the press when it was first announced, and so I was really excited and pleased to be able to bring this important and unique material to the public in this exhibit. So what do I want visitors to take away from the exhibit? The story of cats extends back millions of years, and in Illinois it includes both extinct species and the living wild cats that are still here today. The story of the wild cats in Illinois is ongoing and changing as some of these species are making comebacks in the state. Another big thing about cats is that people have been fascinated with cats for thousands of years, even tens of thousands of years. People have played a part in the story of cats over time, both positive and negative. We're really interconnected with cats, especially with the domestic cat. So this story of cats and people is something that we are telling here in our exhibit with objects from the collection and featuring research that has been done by Illinois State Museum scientists over the years. So thank you very much for joining me today for this introduction to Walk on the Wild Side, story of Illinois cats.